Hello, and this is your host, Jazmin L'Amy from the I'm Your Biggest Fan podcast, sponsored by the Noizze Podcast Network, which, coincidentally, I am at the first ever edition of Noizzefest, which is celebrating 10 years of being a website. I am here on site today doing some random, off-the-cuff, casual interviews with all the bands that have been playing today. We've been here since 2:30. We've got Vexed headlining, Clt Drp headlines, and yeah, stay tuned. This is the Noizzefest I'm Your Biggest Fan special edition. So my first question, this is a big question, who's your favourite band of all time? Oh, everyone's got one.
Fucking easy.
Oh, it's easy for you.
I've got two.
Go on.
Yeah. The Chariot, number 1. My Chemical Romance, number 2. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty on brand.
I like that. What about yours?
I feel like mine changes quite a lot. Currently, I can't say of all time, but currently, and Shikari, love him, and Microwave, because I saw Microwave on Wednesday and I cried.
You've also been on a massive System of a Down trip.
I have been on a big system. I wouldn't say if they're quite up there yet. I'm still familiarising myself with the back catalogue, but big fan. Yeah.
Nice. So how did you discover those bands? Obviously, My Chem are like one of those bands where it's usually like your childhood and angsty and you're just getting into music and then
I'm still angsty now. I've been angsty since the room.
There's so much to be angry about.
Well, My Chemical Romance, my sister actually introduced me to them. My sister introduced me to a lot of music growing up, like Lights on Fire and My Chemical Romance, The Spilled Canvas.
Big up Phoebe.
Big up Phoebe Cawley.
Phoebe Cawley.
Yeah, she used to make like mixed CDs or burn CDs to listen to in the car. I was just sitting in the back, just like, oh, this is rad. That's where My Chem came from. And the Chariot, I just moved to London, and I was I moved to London with a band. And it was a bold move. I was going to university as well, but we all just happened to move at the same time. And I remember we were sat in this guy's back garden, and he had like the Chariot Christmas jumper on, and it was like in the middle of summer. And then he put One Wing by the Chariot on, like front to back. I remember listening to it, and I was like, "This is fucking amazing." And then he was like, "Everyone that comes to my house for the first time has to do a shot of this really hot sauce," and it was horrible. So, pros and cons of that memory.
Those are core memories.
Really ingrained in your stomach.
Exactly. It altered the trajectory of my life forever.
And when you discovered Microwave, was it when you saw them? Or?
Microwave, I hate even saying it, I actually found them off Spotify Discovery Mode, but it was amazing. Shikari, I discovered them because I was at Reading in 2014. It was my first ever Reading. I was little, just finished your GCSEs, off to the festival kind of thing. Yeah. My friend's like, "You've got to come see this band in Shikari," and I was like, "I've never heard of them. They can't be that good." I remember them playing Gandhi May Gandhi, and my life I was stood there like, changed my life completely. And now I've seen them 20 times.
It's always so different discovering a band in a live setting.
So true.
It's totally different to if you like tried them on record first.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for a band like Shikari, like their live shows are brilliant.
So if you were to be introducing someone to those bands for the first time, which 3 tracks would you choose that encompasses their entire sound?
For me, literally the first 3 tracks from One Wing are probably up there with my favourite tracks. Forget Not Your. The whole thing is Forget Not Your, First Love, Speak in Tongues in Cheek. That's like how the track listing goes down. But the first 3 tracks are wicked. That's the Chariot. My Chemical Romance. Just listen to Thank You for the Venom 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, that'll do.
Exactly.
That'll do.
That's all you need.
Sold. And
for Shikari, I'd say Gandhi, just because of my history with it. Labyrinth, I think, is one of their best songs. We were listening to it literally in the car on the way up here.
That
album is incredible. Yeah, and then kind of Rogue, but Never Let Go of the Microscope.
Okay.
Off the Mind Sweep, just because it's a bit more unusual, but it also just goes really hard, and I really like it. Microwave, Lighterless, it's their biggest song, but it's their biggest song for a reason. But Not Often is great, and Bored of Being Sad. They're both 2 new ones off their new album that came out yesterday. So yeah, I
And
love them.
you're already like, this album, these songs came out yesterday, but they're the best.
Yeah,
I love that.
good stuff.
Do you remember the first concert you ever went to?
Yes, I do. It was McFly. I still love McFly. I won't deny it. I remember I was on the barrier. Dougie, the bassist, ran across the whole thing, high-fived me, and I cried. I was very young. And I did the whole, like, I can't wash my hand because Dougie's touched it.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah,
Cool.
I know.
Gross and cool.
I probably did wash it when I got home because my mum was probably like, stop
Wash
being an
that
idiot.
hand.
So how old were you at this point?
11?
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, so I wasn't like a baby, but I was a bit of a baby.
And what about you, Finn?
So I grew up in the Isle of Man, so not a lot of touring came through the Isle of Man really. But the first show that I travelled from the Isle of Man to England for with a load of friends was actually Death of Anna at Milton Keynes Crawford Arms.
Oh,
Wow.
So yeah, we travelled from the Isle of Man, got the train the way over, got a little kind of hotel thing. And it was amazing. That was before the Crawford Arms had like a refurbishment, and it was a fucking ropey place. And it was so good. And the Screamer had just left, but they still played all of those songs, and James just did everything. And it was, they played "Oh How Do You Crack Me Up," which is.
And how old were you when you went to see that?
15, 14,
That was your first
15.
ever gig?
Traveling from the UK to England for. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you can't, my parents weren't just going to be like, you're an 11-year-old boy. Get on that boat, buddy. You know?
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You'll be alright, we're all friends here.
And do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Wonderland by McFly. It's a great album. It's so good. The Ballad of Paul Kay is one of the best songs of all time, and I will die on this hill.
It's good. That's what we like to hear on this
Yeah,
podcast.
it's good. It's good. I will die for that song. Not quite.
I actually can't remember if I bought it with my own money. But the first album I remember owning was Will Smith's album. Like Miami. Will Smith was like one of my favourite songs back then. I can't remember if I bought it with my own money, but I feel like I feel like it counts because I might have done. I mean, when you're that young, it's never really your money. You know, your parents just give you a little bit of money.
A little bit of pocket money.
Just get money, exactly. I want a fucking chimney sweep. I wasn't making my own hard-earned cash.
Speaking of buying things,
Speaking of chimney sweeps. Speaking of,
this is going to take a detour, this podcast. Band merch. Do you have any like really special pieces of band merch? Maybe you caught at a gig, or you were given, or your first piece, or
I have to like go through my wardrobe in my head.
Doesn't have to be a t-shirt, guitar picks, drumsticks. I know I interviewed someone who got a bell
I
from
pick
Melbourne.
at a Bowling for Soup show in 2013. I would
that's
say
cool.
it's not
You caught
particularly
it?
yeah, it's not particularly
conflicting.
special to me. Yeah, it was a
rad.
special moment, but
Yeah.
the pick itself, it's a pick.
Yeah. But is it customized? I like the customized ones.
It is. I haven't used it in a while. I just have a box of picks that I caught at gigs or like scraped off the floor in my little scene kid days. Like, well, I say little days, it was about 10 years ago. But yeah, that's pretty special.
Nice.
I don't get particularly sentimental about that kind of stuff. I don't think. I mean, I buy merch when I really like a band, but like I've never had like that kind of fucking catching a drumstick or a pick moment before.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all of the merch that I have. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Do you have a favourite band shirt?
Do I have a favourite band shirt?
I'm trying to think what you wear a lot.
You know what? A band shirt that I fucking love is from a wonderful band and friends of ours called Out of Love.
Yeah.
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 And they've got it's like I've cut the sleeves off and it just says it's a guy looking in the mirror and the mirror's all kind of like fucked up and the guy in the mirror is saying looking good and underneath it just says I'm not me. And to be honest,
That's pretty sick.
I love that so much, and that was like when they were just kind of starting out, and they're doing amazing now.
Yeah.
But I feel very connected to that one piece.
So,
Cool.
I'm going to start with the biggest question. Who is your favourite band of all time? And everyone's got one. The
Yeah.
one that changed everything.
Okay. I can narrow it down to two. I think one just pips it. my two favourite bands. One of them is Shikari,
Nice.
which probably shows in our kind of stuff. But my absolute favourite band of all time is My Chemical Romance. So, don't judge, but...
Absolutely not. We just had the same thing in the last one. So what about you?
God, I struggle with this question whenever it comes up, actually, but sort of like a mix, somewhere between... So I quite like prog, so like I'd say Periphery are probably up there for one of mine. I'd say at this moment in time, that's who I'd say are my favourite band, but growing up it was Queen and the Red Hot Chili Peppers that actually got me into music, so yeah, a little bit of a random one.
And do you remember the first moment you ever discovered those bands as well? How did you get into them? Because I used to be into Girls Aloud before I discovered metal.
Hey, nothing wrong with it.
And I remember the moment that all changed.
I'm actually going to see him. I'm actually going to see Girls Aloud in May. So. You actually? I'm in Sheffield watching them. So.
I think if I remember the first My Chem song I ever heard was "Dead" from Black Parade. So I got into them like kind of late. That's obviously like their third album. But I'm pretty sure my dad played it to me. And he was like, I've just discovered this band, listen to this, it's really cool, and I did. And I was kind of in the phase where I was just getting into like rock music and stuff, and that turned me on to listening to the whole album. And I listened to the live version of the album before I listened to the actual recording. I watched on YouTube, on my iPod Touch, lying in bed, watching the like a bootleg uploaded to video of the film of that of their Black Parade is Dead concert, which that was kind of the big one for me.
God, I must be like 10 when I came down and my parents were watching Queen live at Wembley in the living room, and it was during the Brian May solo that I came down and he was like, do you want to get guitar lessons? I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. I was like, who are these? And then,
he asked you it, but it wasn't really a question. It was
it was like, yeah,
sure.
He was like, we're going to get you a guitar we're going to get you guitar lessons. It was like, cool, sounds great. And then, from there, just kind of,
That's going to be you, that is.
No,
it's going to be you.
like fucking was.
And do you also remember the first concert you ever went to?
Ooh, first concert I ever went to, first like proper concert was Paramore
Nice.
I think I want to say 2009 in the Cardiff Arena. That was wicked. That was my first like proper gig.
Yeah,
really cool.
McFly on the Wonderland tour, I think it was, or Wonder, I can't remember what it was, but they had like a full orchestra behind them though. It was very cool. That's probably why I'm so into like orchestral kind of performances.
I didn't know McFly had ever done anything like that.
Yeah. That album had a lot of like strings and orchestral bits, and they actually had them like all. It looked more like something out of like a Mike Avenged Sevenfold show, to be honest. And then obviously it was McFly, but that was the first one. That was cool. That was actually a good gig as well.
amazing. And do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money as well?
American Idiot by Green Day. On a school trip in a service station, I had seen that the heart and hand grenade thing. That logo I'd seen everywhere. And I saw the album in this service station. I think we were going on like a school trip to London or something. And I was like, I'm going to buy that. And then got home and listened to it, which was also life-changing. But that was mine.
Now that's what I call Disney. 100%. Yeah. Hey,
I used to have the album.
it was great. There's some bangers on there.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you'd always kick into the Tarzan soundtrack. I'd just be like, yes, let's go.
Phil Collins, let's go.
Phil Collins.
I mean, I've been singing Disney songs all weekend anyway.
What's your favourite Disney song?
I'm actually named after Princess Jasmine.
Hey, nice.
Cool.
So is Jasmine.
My partner's also called Jasmine, so it's a bit... It's more Jasmines than I've ever known in one place.
We're big on like musical and Disney songs. Like it's kind of our that's our guilty pleasure, I think, as a band.
So besides albums, do you have a favourite piece of band merch? Maybe it's a tour t-shirt, maybe it's a pick you caught, maybe it's something extra special.
Ooh,
That's tricky, isn't it?
band merch. I think I've always treasured my. I had the Black Parades, my Chem Black Parades, like special edition vinyl with like the really nice like picture book and everything. I've always treasured that. I've also got their conventional weapons EPs on vinyl, which I know are like super rare now apparently, but I've got them all still in the cellophane. So I can't tell anyone where I live, otherwise some of my Chem fans are going to come and rob my house. But yeah, that's a pretty cool one.
I love that.
God, I don't know. Maybe not like band merch and stuff, but I've had guitar lessons with some of my favourite bands. Like I've actually been on like the tour bus and done that, and you know, gained like picks and things like that from that, tab books and all that sort of thing. And the one that always stands out was Protest the Hero back in like 2012 or something, and yeah, just sat on the tour bus doing that. So I've got like, let's say I've got the tab book, I've got the pick and stuff. Yeah, it was cool. A little bit different, but yeah.
And one more question to wrap this up. If you were introducing someone listening to those bands for the first time, what 3 songs would you choose that encapsulates their entire discography?
Okay. Right. I'm going to go, it's super obvious, but Welcome to the Black Parade. I think that era of My Chem is what I loved about them. It was that kind of big, like bombastic theatrical thing. It got me into like concept albums. It got me into then retroactively bands like Pink Floyd, like artists like David Bowie. That all came from my love of My Chemical Romance. So that album was a huge one. I think Welcome to the Black Parade is like, it is the anthem of that album. So that's probably a big one. I would probably then go for Helena from 3 Cheers, because that is an absolute banger, and just shows off a kind of another era of the band. And then last one, man, that's so tough. I'd probably have to go for something from Danger Days. I'll go for Na Na Na. Why not? Because that was so drastically different from anything they'd done before. I think it just, those 3 songs show such a range of like, well, what is going on? Like, those are my 3 picks.
I agree.
Marigold by Periphery, Zagreus by Periphery, and then into Stranger Things by Periphery as well. I think they're just a little bit more accessible. I know like sometimes when you're not into prog, it's quite hard to like kind of sit there and listen to like a 9-minute long epic. But those ones are quite, you know, they're catchy. They'll
ease you in.
Yeah, they got sick riffs, good, you know, instrumentation across the board, and catchy choruses. What would you want, really? I'd say those for those 3. Yeah,
bangers for sure.
So the basic premise of my podcast is called I'm Your Biggest Fan.
Yep, we've listened to an episode.
Have you actually?
I listened to the Meg one.
Oh, people listen to my podcast. Thanks.
We made it.
So you know what the gist is. You basically just get to like bang out the fuck.
Big
your
time.
favorite
Big
band.
time.
So my first question, which is the biggest question of all, is who is your favorite band of all time?
Should I start? You start.
I mean, you should be prepared if you've listened to it.
I have too many choices. The issue is it like the first band I ever loved, or is it
It's the one that changed everything for you.
Oh, well, I can start very easy. Radiohead.
Okay, lovely.
Radiohead through and through. I like boring music. Famously, I'm the member of Death Knows who really likes the boring stuff. I think I must have got into them when I was maybe like 16 or something like that.
Okay.
And then when I was 18, and sorry to my parents if they watch this or listen or whatever, I lied to my parents that I was going to Primavera Festival with a load of my friends, and my dad dropped me off at the airport, and I flew there and stayed the entire time by myself just to go and see Radiohead, and it was just the most incredible experience of my life. And I remember watching them and being like, this is the thing I want to do now. Like, I want to go up and I want to make boring music. I know join Deaf Goers and it wasn't so boring. But
compromises were made.
Yeah, exactly.
Life's about compromise. Hello.
I would have to say, realistically, Biffy Clyro.
Okay, nice.
I remember listening to a Kerrang Taster CD before Sonosphere
11 they played, right?
11.
Yeah,
Let's say 11. Don't fact check me. And Golden Rule came on, and the like orchestra bit at the end came in, and like the riff then came in, and I remember sitting bolt upright going, "This is the best band fucking ever."
Yeah.
And then the gal I worked at a record store with went, "That album's fine, but listen to that old shit." And so I listened to that old shit, and they went, "Oh, this is even better." So yeah, Biffy Clyro, definitely. Although a massive shout out to Heck, aka Bobo Godzilla. That was like a real like, That is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Biffy Clyro sing. That's what I want to do. Like them and Let Live. Like
And
that.
then we just copied everything.
Every shtick. I love Matt so much. Like that's a fucking sweet boy. But like I copy every one of his moves. He's who I'm trying to do on stage. Like every gimmick I've nicked.
Well, that's what this whole podcast is about. You know, there's always that one band or that one musician where, especially like when you first get into music, and you're, like, trying to
100%.
find your own,
Thank you.
your own thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
To hear. So if you're introducing someone to those bands who had never heard of them for the first time, what 3 songs out of their entire discography would you recommend that encapsulates them?
For Biffy, I would say Many of Horror. It's basic, but it is a banger and it does work. I would then say All the Way Down for like their like magnum opus, crazy, like it's got everything that Biffy are amazing for. And then I would say Get Fucked Stud from Puzzle, because it is completely nonsensical, screamy, horrible stuff, and then it's got this beautiful bubblegum chorus.
That's what we like.
And that's a
Good
lovely
combo.
split. Yeah. Let Live, all of Vegas history. Don't consider all of that shit.
We'll move on to Radiohead.
Yeah, so I think for Radiohead, I mean, the obvious one is Creep. I'm going to say Creep. Like, I think it's just such a good intro into Radiohead. Like, it's the nice guitar stuff, but then in that, probably Weird Fishes. I mean, we've stolen the drum beat for a million times. And then, I guess the song after Weird Fishes on In Rainbows, All I Need, it's a personal favorite of mine. It's like, it's for the... I'm big on the like atmospheric, introspective heads up there. I think that's like probably one of the. If you listen to those 3 and you like any of them, you're gonna hate everything else that Radiohead have ever done.
Okay.
But if you like them, they're like the top ones, I think.
You mentioned that you went to go see Radiohead without your parents. Was that your? I'm assuming that wasn't your first ever concert.
It was not my first ever. It was
your first ever concert.
my first ever concert. Oh, that's such a good question. Well, I guess the first time I went to like properly see a band would have been Sonosphere 2010, and saw like Iron Maiden, Pendulum, and Bring the Horizon when they were doing the deathcore stuff. That was banging. That was absolutely banging. Yeah. They opened the second stage. Banging. What about you?
Mine, I was 6 and I saw Busted with McFly and V opening, and it was fucking sick. I had a little blue denim jacket on, little blue jeans. I had my hair spiked up with the most gel you've ever seen.
Nice.
It was wicked. And then Nickelback was my second.
Hell yeah.
We're seeing Nickelback this year.
It was Dark Tour. It was
Amazing.
sick.
Cool. And do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Yes. Panic at the Disco, Thief You Can't Sweat Out.
Iron Maiden, The Final Frontier. It's not very good.
We were talking about this on the trip, actually.
I wish it was something cooler, but I'm
No.
later era Iron Maiden album.
Also, one with the worst artwork on it as well.
Real.
The Shaolin one is undoubtedly worse. Alien is kind of sick.
I think they're all bad.
I've got an Iron Maiden tattoo.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. They're all bad.
It's the Book of Souls one, the Mayan one.
Oh, that is
sick. Yeah.
They're a band of good artwork, and the less stuff is.
I don't agree. Sorry, Iron Maiden.
I have one more question for you.
Yep.
Iron Maiden listen to this, right?
I wish. Band merch. Do you have anything special, anything unique, anything that means a lot to you? What's your favourite piece of band merch that you own?
That's such a good
I thought you meant that we'd made.
No, that we own.
I've got a drumstick from Coheed in Cambria
See, that's cool.
that my friend wrestled out of someone else's hand to give to me at Heavyfest when they played in Keeping Secrets.
That's a real friend.
Yeah,
That's
sick.
a real friend.
That's a real friend.
I've got a Red Hot Chili Peppers long sleeve that it's honestly it's so sick that my mum gave to me when I think my parents went to see them at Nebworth in like the 90s or something like that.
Okay.
And it's like it's orange tie-dye and it's so sick, and like I never wear it out because I'm so afraid that it's gonna get like ripped or something like that.
I feel so Jeff and laughing at you for something you're apologizing.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna tell my mum. She's gonna be so mad at you. She's gonna be so bad at you.
I thought she had better taste in music than Red Hot Chili Peppers.
They're good live though.
They're one of the worst bands I've ever seen live.
Sorry to Red Hot Chili Peppers if you're watching this as well. Andy Decadis, you're a criminal.
So you know the premise of the podcast. You've done it before. You've not. You just get to fanboy over your favourite band. So I'm going to ask Jasper first, so you get a good example. Jasper, not that I don't know the answer to this question already, but who is your favourite band of all time?
My favourite band is a little band called Parkway Drive from Byron Bay in Australia. Yeah, I've taken his idea.
Is it actually?
This is the issue. Is our first gig was the same band though. When I was first metal gig was Parkway Drive because it's my favourite band. So I mean, you know what? You know what I could do?
What's that?
Is I could choose a different band because I know lots of bands, and he could have Parkway Drive and it could be different to the last one.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay. My favourite band. I lied. Is that filming?
Yeah.
I lied. My favourite band is a band called Violet is Murder. It's from Australia.
I think you like Australian music.
Yeah, I don't know, I've never been, but I imagine apart from the spiders and other insects and weather and like non-stop loneliness and sort of the fact that it's the opposite side of the world to my home, I think I'd love Australia. Apart from those bits, I'd love it. I think you can.
On Australian bands, Parkway Drive, man. First metal band I saw live, and they changed me forever. I'm telling you, I went into that show. It was Brixton, fucking Parkway Drive headlining it. Ask Alexandra on that bill, stick to your guns. I think it was just the three. I went in wearing a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt. Came out wearing it as a sash. I'd stolen this fucking hat off someone as well. That's
the first metal we took him to, and it's
You wear that all the time as well.
I wear it all the time. I love it, man. And Parkway Drive since that day, man. Ben Gordon, he went upside down in that gig. Man.
He went upside down.
He was spinning.
No, you have to ask him how he did it, but he went upside down. He did.
Was it in like a cage thing?
It was a cage. I think it was like strapped down, and he was on a rotor. I don't know, some
kinky thing like that, you know.
You should get one for Beyond Extinction.
Yeah, we're building it. I'm welding currently.
So for people who have never listened to Parkway Drive or Thy Art Is Murder before, if you could choose just 3 songs to introduce someone to that encapsulates their entire discography, which 3 songs would you choose?
Shall I go first? Because of alphabetical order, because J is before N in the alphabet, I'm going to go first.
No way, I did not know that.
That is Murder. I'm going to choose one from different albums. So I'm going to say Reign of Darkness on Hate is just like, that's deathcore heritage. I think if you don't know that song anyway, and you're watching an interview to do with my band, don't know why you'd be doing that. So Reign of Darkness by Thy Art is the first one. That's from Hate. And then from Dear Desolation, which is my favourite album, the title track of that I think is brilliant. They used to open their set with it, and it was a very good, it's just a very energetic, nice flowing song. And what sort of rogue choice can I go for in there? There's a song called Laceration Penetration off of the album The Adversary.
Okay.
And it starts with a really nice back and forth guitar, and I think that's really good for the nice aggressive speedy Thy Art stuff.
Alright, I'm going to start with my favourite track, Boneyards. What's that, Deep Blue in it?
That is off of Horizons.
It's off of Horizons, and they played that one. Yeah, they played that one at that show as well. And I haven't seen them. It was the last time because I've seen them a few times since. I haven't seen them play that one again. So that's got to be up there. I'll get one from one of the recent albums as well. Well, actually, no, I won't. I'm gonna go. What's the one with Wild Eyes? Yeah. We used to play that one live. We did it live. And it was really bad. Yeah, we destroyed it a little bit. We didn't do it justice. But that's a very fun song. And I want to say one off of Aya because I really like that album a lot.
That's the one I listened to the first time.
Yeah. I can't think. Help me out, bro. Destroyer, yeah. I think we actually gigged that one as well. To be fair, we also gigged that
a lot
one.
of music from other bands.
Yeah, we're fanboys, man. But,
so, do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, I feel you were on the punk stuff before I was.
I was on something even before then. Embarrassing. It was a Michael Jackson album as well. It was a greatest hits one as well. Embarrassing, man. But hey, I was a Michael Jackson.
How else do you think this guy's got the groove? Unless it's on the MJ.
My first CD. So I don't remember. I remember my dad. This definitely wasn't my first CD, but I think it's a nice story. My dad. I remember I went to a family gathering and I was talking to my uncle about the band. I think it was Keen. I don't even like them. But I was talking to, no, it was Placebo.
Okay.
I was talking to they've got a album called Without You I'm Nothing. I think it is. It's a very good album. And I was talking to my uncle about it, and my dad overheard the conversation. And I came home from school like the next week, and he found it at work because he worked at a distributor. Brought it home for me, and it was my favourite CDs. So I didn't buy that one with my own money, and it wasn't the first CD, so it's completely the wrong answer to your question. But it's quite a good story. Yeah, it's quite a good story.
Well, I'm going to move on to band merch next.
Nice.
So, and I guess like you've already mentioned, like with the hat and the shirt that you got, do you own any really like special, different, unique types of band merch?
One of them?
Unique. I've got a really nice Glower t-shirt, which is somewhat of a limited edition, I've been told. It's a flame with a skull, if I remember right. Am I? What's the name for this?
I have no idea.
You know the one.
It means
it's the
a
one
lot
shot
to
on the
you,
recent
clearly.
drop. It's got like a special name you were telling me about, and I've forgotten it.
I probably was telling you, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, there's some very good. I'm thinking of the Starved one, man. The Starved one, and also the Starved hoodie to go with it. Green, man.
It's not limited, but that was a good drop. Yeah. Shout out Starved. Shout out Stephen Parnell. Quite good at drumming.
What about you?
I'm gonna blow any answer you get today out of the water.
Okay.
I went to Bristol 2019 and I saw Parkway Drive headline amongst other people who know. He didn't headline. He saw them with me. And that year, as a gift, I was bought at a later year. The guitar strings used by their lead guitarist turned into a bracelet, which I don't have on me now because I don't wear it out of the house because I'm worried about losing it. But it's one of my favourite possessions. It's very cool. Yeah.
Cool. I got one more question for you. Yeah. You mentioned there that both your first concerts were Parkway Drive together.
Yes.
How did that come about? Did you know each other before that? How special was that, seeing it together?
Can I give you my side of the story and Niall's side? Because we both have different sides of the coin.
Okay,
right, of this,
if you can do it in 1 minute.
All right, really quick. So basically, I wanted to see Parkway Drive and the whole lineup. I wanted to go with Niall's brother Adam, who I was very good friends with. And shout out Adam. And Niall was like, I want to come along, but I don't want to see any bands that I don't understand what the singer's saying. So we were like, I'll just come, you'll love it. We queued for like, I don't know, 4 hours, saw the gig, it changed his life. Now he plays drums for our band and he's good at it. You're welcome, Parkway Drive, for getting him involved in that. And it was a really good time. That was my side of the story.
My side of the story was I turned out to a show with this guy. Bought a block of cheese and a Monster. I was like, bro, this long line, we're set, man. That's basically my perspective. And yeah, I think word for word, I was saying, if I can't understand what the vocalist is saying, I don't like the music. Man, that was the last day I ever said that, I promise you.
And now, following that statement, I just want to say, anyone who's listening to this, go and listen to our music and try and understand a single word that I'm saying, and you understand how much of a fucking liar this guy is. Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So the whole premise of my podcast, called I'm Your Biggest Fan, is basically you just get to fanboy and fangirl over your favourite bands. Forget about being a musician for a while and just reminisce on the bands that got you into music in the first place. Mm-hmm. So my first question, which is a pretty big, heavy loaded question, is who is your favourite band of all time? And you've definitely got one, the one that changed everything.
There's so many stages to this thing. There's so many, because I was actually writing about stuff the other day. The first band would be probably Guns N' Roses for me. But I don't ever listen to Guns N' Roses now. But when I was 7 years old, I loved Guns N' Roses. Seeing Slash on stage, I was like, I want to be in. Yes. I didn't happen, didn't work out. I looked nothing like him. And then I guess as I progressed, The Prodigy. Okay. Then I was 10 years old when the Fat Lamb came out. So yeah. I'd say if I had to, I'd probably say The Prodigy.
And you guys as well?
Want to go first? I mean, mine's pretty niche, but I don't know if this counts either because it's not really a band. But like Catherine Zeta-Jones from the Chicago musical.
No, I love that. We're here for it.
Just in the sense that I was I had that CD. My mom had that CD, and I listened to it all the time. The Chicago musical CD, and that is such theater, and also kind of crazy empowerment as well from an 8-year-old. And to be honest, that really did get me in the theatrics of music and like the content and the way about it. Like I think that honestly changed it really infiltrated my brain at a young age.
I think for me, similar with Scott, like just went through phases. I remember my dad is like a big fan of music, and I remember listening to vinyls of like AC/DC and like Dream Theater when I was younger, and I thought that was really cool. He had like live DVDs of like Dream Theater playing live. And I was like, this is so cool, you see all the crowds. And then when I was about like 15, 16, I discovered like Avenged Sevenfold and like probably like heavier music. And I was really into that. And then later on discovered dubstep, and then that really inspired me to write some drum grooves. Like it just literally went, it just keeps going. But
It was a slippery slope.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Amazing. So out of those bands as well and the movie soundtrack, what 3 songs would you choose that encapsulates the whole sound if you had to introduce them to someone who'd never heard of them before?
Of your favourite band?
Of your favourite band.
From the same band or movie soundtrack. Yes.
Are you going?
You go, you're first.
So with Prodigy, I guess it'll have to be Outer Space. That is the name of the track, isn't it? I can't remember now. Like, is that?
I know it's your favourite band.
Yeah, it's my favourite band. I can't remember the names of the tracks.
You're right,
probably
yeah,
get it wrong. But I'm trying to think now. It depends. It's the first 3 albums for me that like the best of Prodigy. I don't know. It was, to be fair, Fat of the Land was the one that I rinsed. Sorry, I'm taking far too long thinking about this. So to be fair, like Breathe, Slap My Bitch Up, and Outer Space. Yeah, probably Outer Space is from the album before, but yeah, probably those 3. I think.
You guys?
I mean, number one, Cell Block Tango. Because I used to go to like rehearse those like the little snippets of like all the women talking about how they murdered their husbands, which again, like I honestly think that's so. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it makes sense.
This is a therapy session.
Yeah, that's a big one, and then like also, I don't know, like Queen Latifah's "When You're Good to Mama, Mama's Good to You." Like that's pretty gnarly. I don't know, and then what else? And like. Yeah, I'm trying to choose between Mr. Cellophane and like Roxy Hart. Maybe Mr. Cellophane, because my mom used to listen to it in the car, and it was like such like a woeful track. I don't know, they're bangers.
that's the catalyst there. I mean, if I go for the bands that I said, like AC/DC, over to like Highway to Hell, I think that's like a staple track to like introduce to that band. Dream Theater. Is it Dance of Eternity or something like that? It's like it's a song that changes like 15 time signatures or some really insane stuff. So that's sort of like introduced to the bands. And then with dubstep stuff, I was listening to Skrillex quite a bit when I was younger. Song names, Bangarang, I think, was one of the song names.
I feel like that rings a bell.
Yeah,
I'm not that well versed.
Yeah, there's another one I completely slipped on mine now, but yeah, I think amazing.
Do you also remember the first concert you ever went to?
My first ones were like grassroots ones, so that was like seeing my brother's band play. Played in a cool band called Stout, local legends of Southampton. They need to come back. But my first big gig I remember was seeing the Fun Loving Criminals.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to really like them as well.
How old were you when you saw them?
About 12 or something. Something like that. That seemed like a really cool thing.
You guys?
I mean, the first gig I've been to was my dad's band back home. Which
I love that. That's so wholesome. Though.
Yeah, literally, it was just like, I mean, being like 5, 6, or like 7 years old, like there, around that age, to seeing your dad like rocking on stage. I mean, it's my inspiration of performing and being on stage to this day. But then my first big concert I went to was Judas Priest with Whitesnake supporting, and another band that the name just slipped my mind, but it was mental. It was in the stadium in Thessaloniki in Greece, and I remember just losing my mind.
Sounds insane.
I think mine was Hillary Duff.
Oh wow!
I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9. I think I can't really remember, but I know it was my. I remember it was like a very big, obviously, like theater concert, and me being very overwhelmed and small and complaining about how long it was. But you know, "Come Clean" is a tune.
I love that. And final question: band merch. Do you own anything special, anything sentimental, anything weird, different? What's your favourite piece of band merch, if you own any?
That's a good question. Hang on. The only thing I bought recently was there's a band called The Stat, and I've got their socks.
Literally gonna say that. That is the best piece of merch I ever bought.
You can never have enough
The
socks.
Stat. It's so good.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, nothing like special. Nothing like out of the ordinary apart from a t-shirt.
Yeah, I think the socks for me.
Yeah.
I love the socks.
Can't go wrong with
so
socks.
good.
I don't know.
There's something I'm missing, like a mug or something.
Like something weird.
Yeah.
I have, so my favourite band is Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
And my mug collection is just all Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses.
Amazing. That's wicked.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of okay, this is kind of a weird thing, and it's a bit more personal, but it's just
That's
what
fine,
comes
we
to my
love weird
brain.
things.
My partner's band is called Plastics, and I got the only pullover. They made a bunch of t-shirts, and my partner only made me one pullover. I don't know why I got it, but I got it, and then I bleached it myself. So I have a limited edition Plastics hoodie that I really love, and I love their band.
That is pretty damn special.
That is really special. Yeah,
It's
that counts.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, so this is basically just about your favourite bands. The one bands, because you probably do have one, that got you into this position in the first place. So the biggest question of all to start off with is, who is your favourite band of all time?
McFly.
There's a theme today, weirdly.
Really?
Yeah.
Number one McFly.
Yeah.
Wow. Who else? Do you know who else said McFly?
Death Goals, Nightlives.
Wow. They're stealing our answers. They're stealing our answers. We've made it very known that we like McFly. They're all stealing our answer. Yeah.
So is that both your favourite bands?
Well, and you have a different one. Well, as we are twins, we do like the same bands, but yes, well, McFly is definitely one of them. But you can talk about it. Oh, what's your favourite band? That's what she's asking. Oh, my favourite band?
Yeah, do you have
Oh.
a one?
Well, my one is Prestamico.
Oh, nice, I've seen them.
I have seen them. I've seen them also. I've seen them as well. You have? Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember the first time you discovered those bands?
Yes, when I was like 10 years old, on CD UK probably, or Top of the Pops. Great shows, great time.
Do you remember what the first song it was that you heard by them?
Probably 5 Colours in Her Hair, of course. It's their first
What
song.
about you and Preston
Banger.
Nico?
Well, Prestamico, we found about them through. Do you remember when Download used to do like the Red Bull like Battle of the Bands competition?
We do.
Yeah, and they were in it, and I think we were in it as well.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to check out the competition. And then they were one of the bands that got through. I think they ended up playing Download as well that year. And I thought, wow, good band.
Nice. I saw them open for Shinedown.
Oh, did they? Oh, yeah. In Bristol.
Mine was not in Bristol.
Okay.
Mine was in
I watched them
London.
in Bristol. I did not watch Shinedown.
So if you were to introduce someone to McFly and Prestamico for the first time who never heard them before, which 3 songs would you choose from their discography that encapsulates them perfectly?
Whoa. I would pick one would be Corrupted. Another one would be POV.
Okay.
And the next one would be
Different album, surely.
Ultraviolet.
Okay, good.
Bangers. Ultraviolet's my favourite, my first song.
And Prestamico?
Okay, Prestamico, I would say well, my favourite is a song called Wasting Time, which is on the Affinity EP, and I also like Means to an End. That's good. And then Familiar Ground, I think that's a good one. That's pretty
Prestamikui, I think.
Got some solid choices.
Yep.
Do you remember the first concerts you ever went to? Did you go to the same one?
My first concert was McFly
Nice.
at the CIA in Cardiff in 2006. And he was also there. I was also there.
And that was also your first concert?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's so cute. So, I'm now going to ask you about band merch.
Cool.
Do you have any, like McFly, Prestamiko, or any other bands, like not just t-shirts, maybe picks, maybe a drumstick, something that's like special or a bit different?
I haven't got any McFly merch. The only McFly merch I remember buying was on the gig. I bought a foam finger, and it was great.
Do you still have it?
No,
Ah.
but it was a great foam finger. Loved it. We should make foam fingers.
We should make foam fingers.
But yeah, I don't. McFly not really big on the merch. And if they do merch, it's not very good. There's like pictures of them looking pretty, which I don't really want to wear. Sorry, no offense. But yeah, they're not really a good example for bands with good merch. What's the best band with merch? And Shikari do good merch, I think.
Iron Maiden are pretty good with their merch.
Iron Maiden, yeah, pretty merch heavy. But if I would pick Shikari as the best merch band. Or Holden Absence, they have good merch as well.
Yeah. Like the designs or like the range of different merch?
Just the vibes.
Just
the vibes.
The vibes are all there.
The vibes.
So you
That's all
need.
the vibes.
Cool. Final question: a band on your bucket list that you've not seen yet?
Mine would probably be Metallica.
Oh, nice.
Never seen Metallica. They were my favourite band in my teenage years, and I've never seen them.
Why not?
Because they're very expensive.
That is very true.
And they only pay Download Festival. I can't afford Download Festival either. So one day.
You know what mine would be?
I would say Ruben to Reform.
Who?
Ruben.
Jamie Lenman.
Jamie Lenman?
Oh yeah.
He used to be in a band called Ruben,
Right.
and they split up years and years ago, and I was too young to see them. So I'd quite like to see them.
They might do a reunion.
Yeah.
I said the same thing about Guns N' Roses.
It's in the realms of possibility. They probably will.
So the basic premise of my podcast is called I'm Your Biggest Fan, and it's an opportunity for you to forget about being a musician for a while and revert back to being a fan when you first got into music. And we've all got that one band that changed everything for us. So have a very quick think, because I'm about to ask you probably the biggest question, and that is, who is your favourite band of all time?
It's a tough question, isn't it? I think I'll probably be on a similar page to Rory with this.
Rush.
Yeah, I think Rush, at least for me and Rory, they were like a big influence on our music. Everything we do, like all the themes around it, were kind of inspired by Rush. Like they do like kind of long form concept albums, and they've got this. Well, they're essentially a pop rock band, you know. And we write concept albums, and we like a sci-fi theme to them, and
Songs within songs.
yeah, exactly. So I think
Songception.
and tonight, before we went on, funnily enough, went and took my preset piss, and coming back, I could hear that they were playing Rush in the bar, and I was like, oh my god, that's so perfect. I always get nervous before we play, so like that was like that kind of calmed my nerves a bit.
Oh, that's nice. That's awesome.
It must be my favourite band if they have that effect, right? They chill me out. That's it. That's me.
What about you?
I'm going to go with what's on my hoodie, Secret Chiefs 3. Probably, yeah. Gonna be really into sort of the structural side of music, and they're instrumental, but they're also like 7 bands in one, so they're kind of this weird, complicated setup with loads of ideas, and just loads of interesting structures and things I'd never heard before. I guess it's sort of off slightly from heavy music, but still kind of in some ways rooted in it. I guess.
I love that. So do you remember how you got into Rush and sorry, what was the name?
Secret Cheese 3.
Secret Cheese 3. Love that. Okay.
Secret Cheese, yeah. Cheese. It's written upside down, so I realised it's quite difficult to read it.
I prefer Secret Cheese too.
Yeah, Secret Cheese is what I like at home. I like Secret Cheese time.
You do. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you got into those bands? How did you come across them?
I was quite fortunate. My dad showed me them like on vinyl. really young. It's like a big prog head, like lots of like blues rock, like Zeppelin, things like that. Motorhead growing up, and I think I kind of showed it to Tom. Yeah. Me, Rory, we had another friend from high school who I think mainly through you and Tom, other Tom. We kind of I kind of discovered like prog rock, weirder kind of 80s music, like 70s prog, like all of that kind of stuff. And I think through that I kind of gradually got into heavier music and ended up where I am today.
What about Secret Chiefs?
It's one of those ones where there's a whole load of bands I was into, and then other members from those end up in other bands and you sort of follow this chain round. And at first I was like, I don't think that's for me, and then listen to it a bit more, and finally it clicks. Like, I really like this. And just kind of following those members through, and I think there's even members now of that band that are in other things, and those become some of my favourite bands as well. Just kind of following the people, I guess.
So, if you had to introduce someone listening to Rush and Secret Chiefs for the first time, which 3 songs would you choose that encapsulates their entire discography?
That's tricky.
3 songs.
I guess if you're doing Rush between the 2 of you, that's like 6.
Okay, right. So, we're going to be on the same page for a lot of it. Okay, so 2112. Obviously, I think that's the big one for both of us. Sadly, sorry to make your life difficult.
That's absolutely correct. 2012 was away.
The thing about Rush though is they're very, very versatile. So in the 80s they did a song called Limelight, which is on a more mainstream kind of album. And then
it's a bit of a toss-up between the obvious choice, which was Tom Sawyer, or maybe something like YYZ.
Yeah,
which I think is definitely where we like kind of went, this is fucking cool. It's weird time signatures, weird synth lines over the top and stuff. So
maybe
music that makes your brain work.
Yeah, exactly. Spirit of the Radio as well. Maybe I'll put that one in.
Working Man. That was so many good songs. So
that is 6 though. So. Working Man specifically, that was great.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about yourself?
I think the one I sent to you years ago, Saptashi or Saptashi, I don't know which way the P or T are in the order, but it's a really good one. And then there's like a whole Ishrakian EP called Perichoresis, which is really cool as well. So I'll probably just send that, I reckon. Because one of the sub bands, so they do albums as themselves, it's like a whole thing, but then sometimes, twice they've done albums as one of the sub bands, like sort of a concept within them. And those ones are really, really interesting, kind of just showing one side of what they do. It's probably send one of them.
Cool. Do you remember the first concerts you ever went to?
Me and Rory went to Download when we were very young.
I don't think that was like my first concert.
It wasn't my first, but that was probably my most memorable. Before that, I went to stuff like, I think I saw Busted once. I definitely saw Steps.
Oh, you saw Steps?
I saw Steps.
All the words.
I saw S Club last year, and I'm seeing Girls Aloud this year.
I think we like grew up in the same town, and there's like a gig once a month from like the last Saturday. What was lovingly called Emo Gig Woods.
Emo Gig Woods, of course. Yeah, I love that.
And some people like, and Shikari passed through once.
Silosis came through, I'm pretty sure. I think Skindred came through, but I wasn't there for that.
They were one of the first bands I saw way back in like 2000. I saw them opening for 1 Minute Silence, and that was a pretty crazy. I think the first gig I ever went to, I went to see Pitch Shifter with my cousin. That was kind of cool. They're doing a reunion tour at the moment, but that was like 2000 or something. It's called the Astoria, which is now closed. So because that was the best venue in London.
That was good, yeah.
Great,
I never got to go to that one. I live in London now. I never got to go.
Did you see Alice Cooper there? I think we saw Alice Cooper there. That was good.
Apollo.
Was that
Apollo?
Yeah, I feel like probably the Astoria was a bit small for Alice Cooper. Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
And the Chariot.
Oh, nice.
That was good.
I saw Tomahawk there. Phantom Mass is there as well. Yeah, that was a good time.
That was a cool venue.
So my next question is going to be based on band merch.
Okay.
Are you fans, collectors of band merch? Do you have anything special, anything sentimental, anything slightly out of the ordinary that you own?
I've got a bunch of vinyls and t-shirts, really. Like loads of t-shirts. I've got this huge pile like the t-shirts in the corner of my room.
I got
sort it out, really.
a really cool a set from a death metal band called Infita from Malaysia, and it came in this kind of like what I could only describe as like a bloodied woolen sack. You know, it's like this little kind of
Interesting.
Sack. Yeah, it came with like, let's say like blood. You know, like yeah, that was weird. You know,
Like
that's
sack with a C or sack CK?
CK, I'd assume.
Sack.
Yeah, a sack. Like, it was like a little cassette inside a sack, and the sack had kind of like blood on it. Then you open it up, and there was like a little blood-stained cassette in there, and it had come with a little pin. That was cool. Yeah, I rated that. That was nice. A nice little touch.
I love weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Something out of the ordinary.
I mean, I suppose I'm a big fan of just like a vinyl or a t-shirt if I really dig a band, or maybe like a patch, a good patch. Easily.
Got a Soundgarden box thing which has like a 5.1 mix of one of their albums, which is really cool. Like surround mix of it, just on a Blu-ray. That's gonna come into this big box. It's like got a spinning thing in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, you've seen
it's
it
in my little pod room.
in the pod room where Rory sleeps when we play in their mind.
Nice. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
American Idiot by Green Day. I'm pretty sure.
Someone else said that today as well. I like that.
It's either that or The Darkness, Permission to Land, or the single Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because that was all around the same time in my life.
That's a very eclectic choice.
I was a very eclectic child.
I think mine was Moving Pictures by Rush.
Nice, there you
and
go.
the Small Soldiers soundtrack.
Oh, sick, yeah.
I think I bought Color in the Shade, the Foo Fighters album. I think that was the first album I bought.
Yeah.
I remember buying it at W.H. Smith. Yeah, and then I don't think they did an album as good as that. That was the peak for me. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. Thank you for listening to I'm Your Biggest Fan. If you enjoyed what you heard, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, send it to your nan in the post. Every little helps. You can follow us everywhere at biggestfan_pod. Follow me everywhere at wrathchild_jazz. Noizze at Noizze UK on everything. Noizze Podcast Network at Noizze Podcast Network on everything. And Satanic Tico at Satanic Tico and at Pitch Black Nor. If you have a band member in mind that you think would be perfect for this podcast, perfect for this topic of conversation, or maybe you are the band member and you're the super fan, drop us a comment, drop us an email. All other info can be found below in the description. And thanks again for listening. We'll catch you soon.